Today on Sailor Moon, it looks like Usagi and Mamoru are at a crossover with their relationship. After only spending one day as a couple, Mamoru breaks up with Usagi. No, that's not right. Today on Sailor Moon, it looks like Usagi and Mamoru are at a crossover with their relationship. With everything seemingly hopeless thanks to the new villains, yet despite the pending doom, they still remember their love for each other, so they might make it through to the end. But wait, where does a breakup fit into this? How do we have two scenes set in the same setting with the same concept, be so executed differently? Well, if you want to know more,
well, stay tuned and you'll find out. She is the one named Sailor Moon. She is the one, Sailor
Sailor Moon is a Japanese manga that was created in 1992 by Naki Takeuchi. It follows a 14-year-old girl named Usagi Tsukino, who meets a black cat named Luna, who informs her that she's the destined sailor soldier of the moon, and her job is to find the other sailor soldiers and protect the Moon Princess. The story continues with Usagi finding her other sailor soldiers, finding the evil Negaverse, and meeting. The series has garnered multiple adaptations, including 2 anime, a live-action series, and so many musicals that I can't even count. With a wide range of adaptation comes liberties in how each version adapts its story. After all, each medium has its advantages and limitations, thus it's nearly impossible to do a one-to-one adaptation, and Sailor Moon is no exception. Despite that, there's a scene that always stuck with me in the 90s anime and original manga that depicts otherwise the same exact scene but executed widely differently. And that's what I want to talk about today. So let's dive into that scene where both versions have taken wildly different approaches. Let's begin with the adaptation most people are familiar with, the 90s anime adaptation of Sailor Moon. Let's first catch up on what happened to get context on the scene before the deep dive. By the end of the first arc, Usagi learned that she is the Moon Princess everyone was searching for. It was revealed that she and Mamoru had a little thingy during the Silver Millennium before they were killed by Queen Beryl, whom Usagi defeated once and for all in the present time, resulting in Usagi, the other sailor soldiers, and Mamoru losing their memory again, only for everyone except Mamoru to regain them within the following 2 episodes. The second arc, or R, is split into 2. The first half being the filler arc, the Arcana, arguably the best arc of the entire 90 series, do not at me. After the defeat of Anne and Alan, Mamoru, who originally lost his memory at the end of the first arc, regains it, and Usagi and Mamoru can finally live their destined lives together with no more stronger. If you ignore the fact that a 5-year-old falls from the sky, breaks Usagi's neck, and kisses the night-year-old Mamoru, and then pulls out a Glock on Usagi.
Ah, the ghetto! The ghetto! The ghetto!
New arc means new antagonists, so say goodbye to the Negaverse and hello to these new baddies from the future with black crescent moons on their forehead called the episode I want to focus on for this video is episode 63 in the original anime or 56 in the deep dub. So, how do I feel about this episode? Prior to the scene, Mamoru continues to have visions whenever he touches Chibiusa of a Crystal Palace, and we learn that Chibiusa is brainwashing Usagi's family using her Luna Ball to do so. This is also the first time Usagi's family is introduced to Mamoru, and her dad is rightfully upset that her daughter is dating let me go check my notes, a grown-ass man. Later in the episode, Mamoru gets a headache and sees a vision presumed to be the future that depicts building breaking down and Usagi caught in the trash fire. In the next scene, Usagi runs into Mamoru, not knowing about the visions, and rushes in to hug him. Mamoru pushes her away and tells Usagi they should stop seeing each other. In the original, Usagi thinks it's because she was too clingy, but in the D, Usagi thinks he was upset after what happened with her dad earlier, and explains to Maru that she knows she's younger than him, but it's nothing to worry about.
I don't think we should be too close.
Oh, I know. I'm still pretty young, but that still doesn't mean.
Which is very funny coming from the Deke dub, as this was geared towards a much younger audience, and even created a whole segment to educate the audience on life lessons. Like all the sailor says about cheating, first date, and too many video games, but couldn't squeeze one in for predatory relationships. Anyway, Marvel was like, no, you being young was actually fine, but we should still break up.
I don't think I should see you anymore. We're through.
Usagi, devastated, goes to Rei's temple and explains the situation to the sailor soldiers.
He was just in a bad mood and said something he didn't mean. I mean, just think about it. You guys have been an item for centuries.
After speaking to them and hearing their advice, she goes to Maru's apartment where she apologizes, assuming she's the one at fault.
I wanted to apologize. I was so happy to see you that I didn't even notice that you were in a bad mood.
Y'all be weak in the knees. Stand up! Stand up!
Mamoru's excuse for the breakup is simple. Why should his present life be dictated by what happened in the past? Meaning, why should they be together because their past lives were?
Why should my whole life be guided by what happened to us in the past?
Then he wants to look shocked when he sees Usagi's eyes filling up like, gee, it couldn't be for the fact that you told her you despised every waking moment being in the relationship. What could have caused it? Even after everything she went through in the previous arc, having this unrecruited love because you didn't regain your memory, and you do this to her? Usagi, tears in her eyes, looks down at Chibiza's shoes that are at the front door and asks if she replaced her.
Rini's here, isn't she? I know she's just a little kid and all, but I feel like she's replaced me somehow.
She apologized again for inconveniencing him before finally leaving his apartment.
I'm sorry, Darian. I guess we weren't meant to be together after all.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
By the way, just love this pan to Mamoru looking so heartbroken, so we can sympathize with him. Like, yeah, I broke my girlfriend's heart into a million pieces. But what about me?
Die! Die! Die!
And we get introduced to, unfortunately, the most iconic scene of Sailor Moon, with Usagi crying into a telephone booth. And then she says the most gut-wrenching line.
I guess I won't be able to invite Darian to dinner now.
I can't. Get out.
Let's get into the manga version of this scene.
Wow, that is delicious. Finally, some good fucking food.
Like the anime, let's do a quick recap so everyone's on the same page. In the previous arc, oh boy, there are deaths. So many deaths. Some had multiple death counts in this arc alone. But you know, everything is fine now. Usagi won, Queen Metalia's gone, and even though the Sailor Soldiers lost all of their past lovers in the process, but it's okay. They'll find new lovers. Eventually. Hopefully. Well, at least Usagi and Mamoru finally get to have their happily ever after. Right?
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
And fun fact, the original manga and anime didn't have the verse moon. That was changes Deke made as the original name for the antagonists were the Black Kingdom and the Black Moon Clan.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
Just like in the anime, the arc begins the same. Only this time, an 800-year-old girl falls out of the sky and kisses a 16-year-old Mamoru before pulling the gun and shooting Usagi. Okay, but outside of that, there's no drama. If you ignore the fact that Rei, Ami, and Makoto are kidnapped by the Black Moon Clan and presumed dead. But at least we get Mamoru having powers. At the beginning of this chapter, we're focusing on Act 19. Chibiusa, who is still deciding how to proceed as she's afraid to go back home and deal with the Black Moon clan head on, decides to stay over at Mamoru's apartment to do a sleepover, where Sailor Moon is drawn looking like she had a heart attack. Usagi decides to stop by his apartment and immediately calls her a spoiled brat, which, rude. Usagi creates small talk, such as asking about his birthday and what he would want as a present, where Mamoru is confused by this conversation due to the randomness, while also being distracted by the overall situation they are in with the antagonist. I should briefly mention the state of Mamoru's and Usagi's relationship up to this point. After the literal hell that they experienced in the first arc, the two are finally together, only to be immediately thrust into a new battle. The cracks in their relationship begin when one by one, Ami, Rei, and Makoto are taken to the Black Moon, and we do not know of their fate. Seeing Usagi lose herself bit by bit, her bright smile and bubbly personality are completely wiped away, and at each moment her friends are kidnapped, there's this hardness and coldness we have never seen before from her. A good example of this is at the end of Act 14. Rei is the first to be kidnapped, and the falling out results in Usagi attempting to hit Chibiusa because she thought she was behind it. Another example is after Makoto gets kidnapped, Minako runs the ambush against Chibiusa to get answers from her, and after Chibiusa doesn't give them any answers, Usagi tells her that if she won't tell her who the antagonists are, or who she is for that matter, then they can no longer be friends. In the scene where she says that, her expression is detached and cold. There's no tears or anger. There's nothing. Mamoru is still there to ground her and comfort her. One of my favorite panels is Usagi meeting Mamoru and Chibiusa since the fallout that happened at the club fair where Rei was taken. In the panel, Mamoru embraces Usagi and tells her to cheer up and stay strong. As much as I love how this scene is drawn, there seems to be a disconnect between the two. He's telling her everything is going to be alright, but is it really? Back to their conversation. Usagi was just asking about his birthday and stuff. You know, it's all innocent and cute. And then Usagi asks if Mamoru's in love with Chibiusa, and then even brings up the age is not a number excuse. If I didn't explicitly say it, Usagi is kind of going through it. I guess having 3 of your 4 best friends being kidnapped can do that to a person. Anyway, as she's going through it, nearly shutting down after apologizing because she felt guilty that she's not putting all of her attention into rescuing the kidnapped sailor soldier. And the fear in Mamoru's eyes that he thought she was vanishing and he grabbed onto her for dear life. They expressed their fears and worries and how they will always protect each other and don't want to lose each other. And then they What I found interesting is that up to this point, both versions depicts their relationship at its lowest, but it's funny how the lowest moment was caused by 2 wildly different circumstances. In the manga, the conflict is the antagonist. They are taking the soldiers one at a time, again, presumably dead. Chibiusa is a lot more suspicious than her anime counterpart, so Usagi could very well have another antagonist living in her home. Contrast that to the anime, where the villain in all of this is this guy. That guy over there. That piece of Let's start with the anime. First, why is Chibiusa there to begin with? And for that matter, why does Usagi think Chibiusa is the reason for the breakup? Ignoring the deeply troubling implication of what Usagi was alluding to, what reasoning does the show provide to even warrant that thinking? Not to give too much for the manga in this regard but in the manga, it makes sense that Chibiusa would prefer Mamoru because her introduction included Usagi attempted to hit Chibiusa and she stayed with Mamoru to give Usagi space, thus building that connection. Compare that to the anime where all they did was hold hands. And now they're supposed besties, and she's there at his apartment while he prepares her for school. Let's bring this back to the original source for this conflict.
Good morning, Rita Ora. We're talking about you.
I just have one question for Mamoru. Why do all of this? Why couldn't he ask Usagi for space while he worked to understand the vision? Or just tell Usagi the truth then and there? And he couldn't even have just stopped after the breakup. No, That would be too easy. Instead, he has to go the extra mile and torture this poor girl every time he meets her.
I just can't see you anymore. I don't have the same feelings for you as before. You're making it very hard on both of us. Serena, leave me alone.
How could it have been possibly better to not only hide the truth, but put so much labor onto yourself just so Usagi doesn't like you when it didn't matter in the end because she found out the truth anyway? And she accepted the truth a lot easier than you being nasty to her, so this whole situation was an absolute waste of everyone's time and probably caused irreversible damage to Usagi's psyche. Good job.
I had a reason. I had a reason.
What was the reason?
I had a reason.
What was the reason?
I had a reason.
What was the reason?
I just explained the reason.
What was the reason, bitch?
I don't need to explain myself to you. And
What
he
was
said,
the reason?
My main issue with the breakup is that it holds no weight. What could be the reason for that? Could it be that Usagi and Mama's relationship is not well written in the anime? Maybe I'll make a video in the future about how poorly handled their relationship was in the first season. The anime is lucky they added the Arcana arc, or we will be working with absolutely nothing. Let's break down their relationship. From episode 1 to 29, it begins as a very blunt meet cute with no cute.
You're a pain, Darian! An even bigger pain than my so-called friend Ray! What are you doing playing choo-choo anyway? Ha! You look like a big dork!
Yeah, absolutely. I can just see it tumbling right off the stage. Braying like a donkey, it's Serena the hyena. I know you're gonna fail. You're never on time. You're always cramming junk food into your mouth, and you can't walk one block without falling down and taking at least 3 other people with you.
In episode 30 to 31, the memories of their past lives are revealed, so of course that means they have feelings now for their present self. Mamoru is then kidnapped shortly after and brainwashed by Queen Beryl, so the remainder of the arc, Mamoru is evil. In the season 1 finale, Usagi breaks the brainwashing spell and they are reunited, but after the battle ends with the sailor soldiers and Mamoru dying, they are reincarnated again to now forget they even met in the present time. And I explained earlier, Mamoru doesn't regain his memory till after the last episode of the Arcana arc. We only get one episode as a couple after they are reincarnated before they break up. When they eventually get back together, it's the episode where they find out Chibiusa is their daughter and that King Endymion was the one who implanted the vision into Mamoru's head to...
It really was for your own good. This battle with the Negamoon will be the most difficult thing you've done in your entire lives. To win, I had to be sure your affection for each other was strong and true.
So just like the first arc, they only get back together by the plot forcing them together due to outside circumstances rather than them building a foundation for their relationship, unrelated to their past or now their future. What's frustrating about the anime is that I wouldn't have been upset if they had broken up. Mamoru does bring up good points as to why he would break up with Usagi to hide his true motive. Namely, why should they be together just because they were together in their past? Which is a very fair point. The manga briefly touches on this idea, but it leans towards their past repeating itself for eternity. It's ironically worked in the favor of the anime more so because they only got together once they learned about their past. That breakup could have been a chance for Mamoru and Usagi to become friends first, and then learn their feelings are more platonic, and they don't get back together because of their past, but what they developed in their present. What makes this episode even worse is that the anime had a much better episode tackling their breakup later in the season. In episode 77 or 70 in the Deep Dub, Usagi, still depressed over Mamoru, is forced into making bracelets in the hopes that placing a wish on the bracelet will make Mamoru and her a couple again. While making a friendship bracelet, she received the same vision as Mamoru. She rushes to see him where they have an actual, healthy conversation?
The woman was too stunned to speak.
In the end, since he doesn't know the origin of the vision or if it's even true or not, Mamoru doesn't want to chance it, and the scene ends with Mamoru kicking Usagi out.
We must stay away from each other.
Wait, please! Darian, don't shut me out of your life! I don't care what happens to me! I just want to be with you. Even if the world collapses, I just want us to be together! Darian! Darian!
Why does it have to be this way?
But after a battle, Mamoru, as Tuxedo Mask, gives his usual speech and flies away. Everyone tells Usagi that she needs to hurry and catch up to him because apparently he was speaking in code that everyone but Usagi got. So she rushes to him, and the episode ends with them embracing each other.
I know, Darian, that we can't get married because of our destiny, but just for this moment, could we forget about everything and be ourselves? Darian!
Serena.
It's amazing how much this scene parallels the original breakup, but the more mutual and healthy counterpart to the original. The breakup is mutual despite Usagi not wanting to break up, but she now understands Mamoru's reasoning and respects his decision. Why couldn't this be the breakup episode? I would still prefer the version where they break up to actually get to know each other, but this version is at least easier to watch. We don't have to see scenes of Mamoru stepping on Usagi's heart every time he sees her, or Usagi crying in a booth or binge eating.
I just don't care if I don't sleep or if I get fat. And Darian's got himself a new girlfriend. And now that my guy's got himself a new girl, I'm just gonna eat away my sorrows.
How are you?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
If the writers wanted the drama angst, then you could have Mamoru intentionally avoid Usagi and only come to her if she's in danger, and you could have Usagi still be emotional and heartbroken over the ordeal because she still loves him and it hurts that she can't be with him because of outside forces. Did we really need to have the ugliness with the breakup? But because we can't have nice things, we have to watch over 10 plus episodes of Usagi breaking down every time she sees him while he treats her like actual dog shit and yet expect us to root for their eventual rekindling.
If you don't get that get out of my face.
Now let's talk about the manga. Alright, let's get the elephant out of the room. Usagi and Mamoru in that chapter. We gonna agree with that, right? In the last panel before the scene changes, they are both in bed kissing, and in the morning, we see them exiting Mamoru's room. Usagi's pulling up the sleeve of his button up top. I don't think I can put into words how my 11-year-old brain handled that scene.
Looks like Devin. He's not that cute. Okay, his shoulders are kind of nice. His eyes are fine.
When I first read that chapter, I dead thought Usagi got pregnant then and there. It's even worse because in a few chapters later, the two found out she abuses their daughter, and I'm wondering in the back of their mind, they're like, shit, we fucked up. Can we also take a moment to look at how beautifully drawn the panels are in this scene? Just the scene alone, Mamoru embracing Usagi, without needing to see his face, you could feel the fear coming out of his body as he grabs onto her, as if she was going to disappear then and there. I just love the panels of him kissing Usagi's hand and holding her. It feels so delicate but also protective. Their eyes convey so much attention. It makes you believe they mean any word and action they say or do to another. It's just so...
That is so powerful. Academy Award.
Usagi and Mamoru feel like a full-fledged couple, seeing as they had feelings for each other before they even found out about their past. For God's sake, their love creates a goddamn new scepter for Sailor Moon to fight. Mamoru, feeling helpless that he can't protect Usagi, gains a new power called the Tuxedo Smoking Bomber. Something else I noticed is that Mamoru is the person who takes the initiative in the direction of their relationship in both versions. In the apartment, Usagi is disappearing, and each version has a choice. Anime Mamoru lets her go, but manga Mamoru holds on to her for dear life, as he's afraid that she may disappear from his life again, and he literally can't live without her. When he's describing Usagi disappearing, he's referring to how he hasn't been paying attention to Usagi's feeling. He feels guilty that he hasn't been more considerate of how she may be feeling. Usagi doesn't want to be told that everything's going to be okay. There's a chance that it could, but she doesn't want to be gaslit into thinking for this moment right now, there's no problem. I like to call R the gaslit season for Usagi, way more prominent in the anime, but how many characters play into her face about different issues? Like in the anime, where no one believed her about Chibiusa when she was first introduced.
Maybe you're just overreacting to this whole thing. Maybe you're jealous because Darian paid attention to her and your mom took her side instead of yours.
What? Or just maybe your life is so dull and boring these days you jumped at something that would majorly distract
Or the dumpster fire that was the breakup, and how even her friends believed it was her fault.
you. You treated him badly, and he's smart enough not to hang around for that. When you apologize and really mean it, then maybe he'll want to go out with you again.
Who wants to be told in and out that there's no war in Ba Sing Sing, but if you look out your window, you can literally see the town burning? I think the manga has the decency to let characters actually apologize to Usagi for ignoring her feelings. I would go mad too if I was in Usagi's shoes. Right now in Mamoru's apartment, she just wants her feelings to be acknowledged. And that's what he gives her. And something else. Thank you for sticking to the end of my first video. I've always wanted to create a YouTube channel and talk about the media that resonated with me, either positively or negatively. I wrote this script around the same time last year, but never followed through. I'm glad I took the break because the previous script was kind of bad. I have a separate YouTube channel for my art and writing. I actually did my first video doing a mid-year 2025 reset if you are interested. If you enjoyed the video, please like and comment and subscribe for future videos. Thank you so much for the support. So what's the lesson to be learned for today? Don't forget your daily 90s Mamoru slashes.
Sailor Moon says...